It's not too hard to find open water in Tennessee during December when most folks are thinking about sitting by a warm fire or Christmas. But you can't catch a big bass sitting on the sofa. So most December days, I'm still out on the water trying to catch fish.
Boy, the thing about these wintertime fish is you don't get that pop like you do on a regular jig bite. You see the line swimming off. That's all I saw with this one, was that line swimming. He got every bit of that. That was a good hook set.
He's certainly not the biggest fish I ever caught, but who cares? The first fish of the day always feels good.
This is a good Monday.
Joining me today is Matt Cunningham. Matt works for Jackson Kayak, so he's no stranger to the water.
Whitewater, I gave that a little try. That was pretty fun. And I got in their sit on top called the Riviera, and that was certainly fun as well. And once I stepped foot in one of their fishing boats, I guess you could say I was hooked. You have to get in that boat with the other person and just wait for them to want to go somewhere. You can just take off and go at that very second, and you're a lot closer to the water.
While I like the experience of being close to the water, I like fishing a jig even more, which means I'm usually standing up to fish, even in a kayak.
It changes the angle of your hook set, which I think is important doing what I'm doing. If you're just fishing crankbaits and spinnerbaits, it doesn't matter. But when you're really generating some speed and trying to set that hook, it makes a tremendous amount of difference.
Fish slow down when the water gets cold because they digest their meals slower, but they don't hibernate, which means they're always ready to eat. But when it gets cold, they don't want to work too hard for a meal, so make your bait look like an easy catch by slowing down your retrieve speed. Using smaller baits and slower retrieves can also produce more bites.
Right.
But if you're looking to land a really big bass,
throw a really big bait. Anything that hits that's probably going to weigh 4 or 5 pounds. I'm fishing for a 5. I don't want 5 fish. I want one big 5-pound fish, and a big fish has got to eat. You know, it doesn't have a choice. It's got to eat. It doesn't have to eat as often because the water's cold and they kind of go into a suspended animation, but it's still got to eat. And they eat more often than the little fish do. So you got a good chance of catching a big fish. Most people just don't want to come out and fight a north wind and cloudy skies and cold water, and sometimes it's muddy water, and you know, it just all depends on what you want to do.
Because the sun is going in and out of the clouds, causing the light penetration underwater to change drastically, I'm using several different bait colors.
I change colors more often than I change baits. You know, it's still the same bait, but I just change the color of what I'm throwing depending on the sky and the wind and the water color. And after you get past that, it's pretty much the same thing. That might be a fish. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, that one really wanted that jig. He's got it way down there. You know, it's not a huge fish, but when the water's this cold and murky and you got a north wind, it's still not a bad fish.
It's a fish.
Yeah, it's a fish.
A big key to enjoying winter fishing is what you wear, starting with your life jacket.
You want to dress in layers. You want to have the right footwear. These are called boundary boots. They run all the way up to my calf. You can step off into water. You will not get wet. Your feet will not get cold. Layering in wool is extremely important. You don't want to use cotton.
While I've been fishing in cold weather for as long as I can remember, it's a relatively new experience for Matt.
I always thought winter fishing would be super slow, honestly. And just the past week or so has really proven completely wrong. It's just so exciting to catch a fish. Once you start getting them, it's nearly addictive. You just want to go after that next big one. The only thing I've caught with a crankbait is a very small bass and a crappie.
Yeah, there's a bunch of crappie in here. I'm gonna hit this wood over here. Let's kind of circle the wagons here, see if we can't chase one of them down. I'm just gonna keep jigging mostly the wood. There's a lot of fish in this lake, and they'll relate to a lot of different stuff, but the big fish they get the penthouse. They're gonna go to the best cover. They'll get in there and run those other fish out. And it's about food and oxygen. Deep water escape close by. Here's one. Everything is so up close and personal. And that fish was about 4 feet away from me when I set the hook on it. Chunky. He's got my waistline and my hairline. Healthy fish.
Nice.
He, you know, they stock up for winter, so he's probably been eating a lot of those little crappie and whatever else he could catch. And he decided to eat that jig. Okay, little fella, back you go.
While neither of us caught a 5-pounder today, we both caught 5. And believe me, that sure beats sitting inside waiting for warmer weather. I'm Joey Monteleone on the wild side.